Yeah. Yeah, Wyke is my maiden name.
That's what I figured.
Yeah.
Hello, good to see so many people coming on the air. Good to have you here. All right, we're going to get started in just a moment. So those of you that are coming in, we appreciate you. If you want to make any comments, go ahead and hit that chat button and you can make your comments there. Good evening, ladies of the League of Chiropractic Women. I'm Dr. Kathy Wenlin Colby. I'm a board of director member. I'm the vice president of programming, and I'd like to thank you for joining us today for the LCW webinar series. The theme for tonight is End the Feast and Famine Cycle with our special guest, Dr. Madeleine Silva. The League of Chiropractic Women is an organization for women by women. Our mission is to inspire and support women in chiropractic to thrive while advancing the principles and practice of chiropractic. We commit to serve the vitalistic principles of chiropractic as a subluxation focused and drugless profession. For anyone who is not already a member, we welcome you to join us in our mission of empowering women in chiropractic worldwide. By becoming a member of the LCW, you can connect with like-minded women in chiropractic at live events, at our chapter meetings, and through our online forums of bi-monthly webinars, our Speakers Bureau online course, and the LCW Coffee House Facebook group. All women in chiropractic are welcome to join the LCW, including chiropractors, CAs, students, spouses, patients, and more, because together we are stronger. So now let's get to the webinar. It is my distinguished honor to introduce our featured presenter, Dr. Madeleine Silva. Hi, Doc.
Hey, Kathy. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for being here tonight. I'd like to read a little bit of a brief description about the webinar. So for those people who are joining us tonight or watching us on the replay, let me tell you a little bit about what we're going to talk about. So Dr. Madeleine says, if you've ever experienced burnout, feeling stuck at a certain level in your business, or if you're avoiding growth because it's too labor intensive and the bust from your efforts doesn't last, then this webinar is for you. We're going to learn tonight the 5 natural cycles that a business moves through from startup to 7 figures. I'm excited to learn about this. So I think this is fantastic. I know that a lot of our students are going to benefit from this, as well as our younger docs that are trying to bust into practice and trying to get their feet underneath them so they can really get up and running. So we're going to find out tonight from you what cycle our business is currently in. Yeah?
Yes, absolutely. That's what we're going to jump in and talk about. And everybody's going to be able to self-assess and get an idea where they're at in the cycle and how to move forward.
All right, wonderful. Well, with that, let's turn it over. Let's get started. I know you've got a great PowerPoint presentation for us. So I'm going to let you take over with the screen and have fun. I'm excited. I've got my pen out. I'm ready to take some notes tonight.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Kathy, for the warm introduction. I really appreciate it. I'm so grateful to be here and supporting the important mission of the LCW. And I'm just happy to be here sharing with you. And happy International Women's Day, everyone. I'm wearing red in celebration of all of you. And I wanted to just thank you for taking the time to away from your families, your favorite TV shows, to join us tonight and spend this hour with you learning. I just really applaud you for that. And I know we're going to have a good time. So let's jump into it. I just want to give you, let's jump into it. I'm going to put on my slideshow and we're going to be rocking here. So this evening, we are going to be talking about, specifically, I want to talk about the 5 natural cycles of a business. Now, the 5 natural cycles of a business are just as natural as the moon cycles, pretty much. They're just what people move through when they go from 0 to 7 figures up to like basically $1 million, right? From 0 to $2 million, the natural cycles. And I want you to kind of get a feeling for what cycle you're in. And as we talk about each cycle and what each one really kind of talks about and what's it's really about each one. And I want you to be able to self-assess and get familiar with how it shows up in your practice. I'm also going to talk about the predictable breakdowns that happen in each cycle and how you can plan for them so they don't stop you in your tracks. And I think that, a lot of my coaching clients, they said once they kind of understand the cycles and they understand the predictable breakdowns that happens, it just makes them not take everything so personal in practice or in their business. So, we might have this judgment that we should be perfect, that we should be able to do it all, brilliantly, and things fall apart along the way and we hit roadblocks and, that's really is part of building a business, and to understand them and also know how you can make it through. And I think actually even celebrate them so that wow, I'm now in this part of the cycles and I moved over to the next level. That's kind of actually something to celebrate. And I also want to talk about this specific pattern, which is what I call the feast and famine cycle or the burnout cycle that happens and that I find that even really successful entrepreneurs get stuck at. And I want to talk about why that happens and how it happens and also how to kind of get you out of that. And just to kind of jump out of a little bit, I don't know, if you see me here, you probably see my background. I want to let you know that about a year ago, I sold my business, my chiropractic billing and consulting business. And this last year, my husband and I, we traveled around in a trailer in a fifth wheel and traveling the country and with our 2 pugs. So you might hear my dogs barking in the background. I apologize for that, but we're in a tiny space on wheels. So we're on this amazing adventure. I just kind of want to give you an idea of what happens in the background here. So let's move on. And I want to just let you know that today it's going to be kind of interactive. So you're going to be able to walk away with a map. You're going to create a map as we're talking about the cycles and how it fits into your practice. And I want you to walk away with the one thing that you really need to focus on that will have the biggest impact on your practice to create the most abundance and the most freedom in your practice and the most ease and the most fun, right? But sometimes it's hard to really find that one thing. I talk about this a lot because I think that the most successful I've been in my business and what I see with my clients that I'm coaching with is that when we focus on just one thing, and I usually pick one thing for a whole quarter, and I make that my thing to master during that quarter. And when we do, I found I was just able to accomplish so much more in a year than ever before. Because it's so easy to get distracted by the shiny objects, right? There's always the one thing that maybe would be good or maybe that would be cool. But when you really understand the cycles and you understand the roadblocks, it gets really clear what is that one thing that you need to focus on. And so that's really what I want you to walk away with today. And so we're going to jump right in. I want you to grab a pen and paper, and I want you to pull out the business systems. I want to make sure, just one quick thing. The beautiful slideshow. That would be really great, wouldn't it? But I want you to pull out a pen and paper. And I want you to just draw these 5 boxes on it. Those are going to be the 5 cycles that we're going to review. And you're going to just fill them out. And I'm going to give you the different things that happens in each cycle. So jot down notes and kind of, this is going to be the map that you're going to walk away with. And I want you to write down your business systems on the left-hand side, and then the breakdowns on the right-hand side of those blocks. And this is going to be the map that you walk away with. And I also, on the very top of the page, I want you to write your why. Why you got into chiropractic. What was really your chiropractic dream when you started your practice? I think sometimes, we get lost in the day-to-day and figuring out and putting out fires and running our businesses and our practices. And sometimes you kind of lose sight of the big why. So I just really want you to take a moment and reconnect with what that really was for you and what really inspires you to be in practice. And and just kind of take a moment and write that on the top of the page. Excellent. So now we're going to move into the 5 natural cycles of a business. Like I said, I call them natural cycles because they really are. They as natural as the moon cycle. It really is what takes you from 0 all the way up to $1 million practice. And you move through this, that's just part of the deal. And so number 1 is planning. Planning is when you're just planning your business. Basically when you're finding your office suite and you're signing the office lease, you're securing the business loan for your business and getting the finances in place to start your business. And you're thinking about what you really want to be about and how you're going to differentiate. That's a hard word to say in my Swinglish here. But how do you really are different from the chiropractor down the street from you? and how people can really find you and do business with you. So planning is all about that. In planning, of course, there's really no money coming in, right? There's no money because you're just thinking about it. It's like the dream state. And also the number one breakdown in planning really is never getting in the game, never getting started, right? And so, but once you're through planning and you really move into concentration, that concentration is the launch state. And we all know that launching that rocket into space takes about 80% of the effort, right? So concentration is all about launching, and it takes a lot of time and energy to build a business. And when you first starting your business, you are your business. You wear about 10 different hats. You're the marketer, you're the financial person, you're scheduling, you're running the front desk, you're marking x-rays, you're x-ray tech, right? You're the chiropractor, you're the marketer for your business. You do everything. You really are the brick and mortar of your business. And in concentration, it's really is about taking a lot of action to get patients in the door, right? To get your business up and running. And you're starting to make a little bit of money, right? Things are starting to sprinkle in to your business. And concentration is 10 times effort, 1 time return. So lots and lots of energy is being sent out into the universe to see what happens, what comes back, right? But a little bit come back. And the number one breakdown in concentration is you. You basically get burnt out. It's exhausting. And I also think in concentration, because you're brand new in business, you really are confronting your fears and those things that you're wondering, am I good enough? Am I going to be able to pull this off? Is anybody going to buy what I have to offer? And, it's a big challenge. But if you really kind of move through that concentration, you keep going, you keep spinning the energy, you move into momentum. And in momentum, you really is the growth phase of your business. And this is where all that energy you put into your business in concentration really pays off. And, I have clients come to me and I said, wow, like somebody just come into my office and they found me because they moved into the house down the street, and the previous owner, and when they were cleaning behind the fridge, the previous owner there was a business card, on the ground, on the floor, that was mine. And that's how they found me. Like there's this random stories of how people seek you out, but people are now seeking you out, and you're getting known in the community, and that you have this real immense growth in your business. Things are kind of starting getting dialed in. You're probably hiring some people, becoming a boss for the first time, and you're learning, this is business 101, right? Really, really hanging in there. And in momentum, now you have 1 time effort, 10 times the return. All that energy you spun in concentration is starting to pay off, and money is really starting to pour into your business. The number one breakdown in momentum is your systems and the support. So oftentimes the systems that you put in place in concentration and planning, they basically do not sustain the growth you now have in momentum. And so what happens is that you basically just, what I call, you spin the energy in concentration, and then you dip your feet into momentum, and then you kind of just blow yourself up. You spin out of orbit. And you blow your business up oftentimes, or, something blows up in your business, and you kind of hit that glass wall. And oftentimes you then fall back into planning. You kind of have to regroup, figure out what to do next, start over on planning, and no, you're not going back to zero, right? But you're still having to now replan, regroup, and figure out what to do next, and work your way through concentration one again. And concentration is by far the most labor-intensive cycle of all of them. And then you get back into momentum. And again, there's this, where in concentration, you were the business. Everything surrounded you. You are the brick and mortar. If you want to really be able to sustain momentum and move through it, you really actually need to work yourself out of being the center of your business and becoming the leader of your business. And that shift is usually tricky to do on your own. You might not know how. A lot of people, you struggle in figuring out what that will take. And it's a real mind shift, right? You really have to shift to move through that process. But that's actually the only way for you to sustain momentum and move through it. What I find a lot of people do, they get stuck in that cycle right there. And that's actually what I call the feast and famine cycle, moving from planning, concentration into momentum, kind of blowing themselves up and going back into planning. I did this myself for a long time. And, there's different things that happens. And for me, right when I was about to really hit it big in my business, usually my team would blow up on me. I have had some nightmare stories with team walking out of me. I have fired my whole team more than once. Team has been probably my biggest challenge in business, and also my biggest learning curve. It forced me to work through it and learn from those mistakes I've made early on in my business. And really, now I love team. But what is that one thing for you in your business that keeps showing up right when you're about to hit it big and that you kind of keep up against? And that stops you from really moving through momentum and really sustaining a high level of growth continuously and be able to move with it. Okay. And not get stuck in that fluctuation where things, you have a really high month, you have kind of a low month. The numbers are great and then they dip. And, you never really know. You don't have a lot of predictability and recurrence in your business. That's when you are stuck in that feast and famine, the roller coaster of your practice. But if you are able to make that switch from being the center of your business to being the leader of your business, and you're able to sustain momentum and get all the way through, you move into stability. And stability is all about ease. It's where you have your basic business systems worked out. Your marketing is working, your team is dialed in, your finances are pretty figured out, what packages you offers, how, patients pay, it's easy. There's a real flow to things. Now, stability is a really great opportunity for you. The number one breakdown in stability is really kind of boredom in a way. You get kind of tired. You might lose your inspiration of why. Oftentimes people will lose their why in stability. They wonder, is this all there is? And also oftentimes there's the isolation and lone wolf. You go in, you work your hours, you go back home, but there is not a lot of inspiration and passion left sometimes in stability. And if, stability, if you are able to maintain it again and move through that stability phase, you move into mastery. And mastery is all about passing it on. It's when you are really kind of taking on all the things that you learned so far. And you're all about coaching other people, supporting other people to pass on the learning. And it's all about really, pretty much you hire people to do everything in your business. And you're ready to kind of just, you're in your business, you're kind of the celebrity owner, if you want to say. You walk in, people are happy to see you, you kind of like a guest appearances here and there, but your business pretty much runs by your team. It's, breakdowns as far as a predictable breakdown is mastery, that there's really not a lot of breakdowns. If they happen, most of the time your team is handling it. Very seldom does anything end up in your lap. And even if it does, you have this natural flow. You understand the breakthrough of things, and it's just kind of a blip on the screen. It doesn't stop you in the tracks. It doesn't it doesn't take you out of your game. You can keep going. So I also want to talk about this thing about the feast and famine cycle, right? So we talked about moving from planning, concentration, and momentum, and that kind of dipping your toes into momentum and then blowing yourself up right when you're about to really hit it big. And usually it's that one thing. And And then you kind of have to start over in planning. Okay. Now, there's also this other thing that happens after that's been going on for a little while, right? If you've been in that cycle at all, and I have, it's humbling, and you kind of end up feeling beat up by the universe a little bit, by your business. You feel beat up. And I remember feeling, and a lot of my clients tell me, feeling like the efforts, doesn't really matter. And they start feeling like they just can't do it. And so you might do that a couple of times. You might kind of hit that glass wall a couple of times. But after a while, you might go, you know what? I'm kind of done being beat up. I'm done running into that glass wall. And a lot of times what happens is that people really consciously make a decision to kind of scale their businesses back into a comfort zone. And that's what I kind of call the fake stability that oftentimes happens, in the sense that I have a lot of clients come to me and I ask them, I go over the natural cycles and I tell me, well, I've been in business for 10 years and I work my 3 days a week. I can pay my bills. We go on vacation. I have a pretty good practice. I'm comfortable. I get referrals. It's easy. I have it set up. It's easy. And I go, I'm in stability. And once we kind of start talking about it some more, there's this thing that happens when people have gone through the feast and famine cycle several times, that it kind of hit that wall and they scale back. Just like I talked about, they scale back and they go into that comfort zone of what they know that they can maintain. So they remain the person who are in the center of their business. And how much business and energy and growth can they manage as the main person in their business, running their business? And that might have a CA helping them out. They might have somebody do insurance for them, or, they have some support system in place to manage that level of success that they kind of scaled back into. Now, the main difference between what I would call a stability that somebody created out of comfort, or stability when somebody truly went through the whole phase of momentum and really change that position from being in the center of the business to being the leader of the business. The main difference of the stability phase is that the person who was able to work themselves into the leader role, when they're in stability, they are the CEO of that company. They are basically doing two things. They are recreating the vision for the company and kind of keeping the inspiration of where they are heading in the business. And number two, they're keeping their team accountable to that vision. And those are the primary things that CEO is doing. Many times, of course, right, as chiropractors, you might still be adjusting, you might still be doing different things in your practice. But for the most part, you see yourself as the leader of the business as opposed to the doer in your business. Somebody who chose purposefully to scale back their business to fit into that comfort zone, they move into that level of stability that's comfort. Usually they are still working in their business. They're still doing exactly the same stuff that they used to do in concentration for the most part. And there's not a big difference, really. It's just, they figured out their systems and it doesn't feel so difficult to do all of the things that they used to do in concentration, but it's not a big difference. So that's the thing that happens. And so what I also want to look at is, so we talk about this, how it fits into the big picture of a business, your whole business, how you move through the cycles, right? Now, I also think that utilizing the 5 cycles of a business fits really well into the different systems of your business as well. So on that left-hand side where it says business systems, these are different areas of your business. So, for example, you might have, if you have a lot of new team members, your team might actually still be in concentration, right? They're just learning their job. They're getting dialed in. They might be kind of confronted, right? Just like I said. So they are being challenged at their job and learning all these new things. So that's a good context for you to have with your team so that you know where to meet them and understand where they're at to support them through that process. And also knowing that the breakdown in concentration is themselves. So how can you help them overcoming their own internal dialogue that might sabotage them from being successful at their job, right? Really important things. Or maybe, your marketing, maybe you are starting something new. Maybe you decided you're going to do lunch and learns, right? It's brand new for you. So you're starting to plan that out and schedule those and fill those events. And so, you might still be in the learning phase of that. And, some of them are filled, some of them are not, they're not quite dialed in yet. So, that would be another area that you would still be in concentration, right? Or maybe you've been doing, welcome packages to people who just moved into your area. You've been doing it for years, and you have this whole system where you get, a certain number of postcards. You know exactly what to write on them. You know what works. You kind of have dialed in. You tested in the true and tested systems, and you get pretty much between 8 to 12 new patients every month from that. It's like clockwork. It's what you do. You know what the budget is for it. Now that is a system that's totally in stability or maybe even mastery, right? So it's really helpful to kind of go through all the different systems and write them in on that left-hand side and figure out what cycle of your business are the different systems in. I also love utilizing the cycles in a way when I work with my team. For example, maybe you are changing softwares, and it's a really great way to get your whole team on the same page and kind of teach them about the 5 cycles and talk to them about it as a context. Hey, we're changing softwares, so let's plan for changing softwares. What needs to happen? Who's going to do what? What's the game plan? So you plan all of that out, and then you move into starting to actually transfer the data, making sure it all works right, that the ledgers are correct, that the billing is going out right, that the coding is right, that your scheduling is set up. And so there's this whole process where you have to go through concentration. It takes a lot of energy and effort just to learning the software and making sure it's set up correctly. So talking to your team about, hey, we're going to go through this intense phase, and I just want to make sure we're all ready, and how we're going to take care of ourselves and how we're going to restructure this so that we can move through that phase of concentration as quickly as possible and move into momentum where things are kind of easy. Right? So, and also in momentum, I think it's really important to fine tune, because we're talking about systems and support are the major breakdowns in momentum. So anytime you're looking at systems, I think the one thing that I always pinpoint at is what is any backhand hassles. Backhand hassles are bottlenecks or client complaints that shows up on the back end. Right? Those are the things that we might not have thought about when we were doing the planning, but they're showing up on the back end. So if they do, then create a front end system that takes care of those problems. So anytime you're integrating something new, you are cycling through these processes and these cycles every time. It's also really important to think about it. Like, for example, I had a client who's been dealing with kind of a blow up in his coaching business, where some of his clients felt really betrayed and really upset, and is causing a lot of upset in the community that he's built. And this can happen in your chiropractic office, right? That your patient base, all of a sudden, maybe somebody felt, that you didn't explain the finances correctly, and they felt that were misinformed and taken advantage of in some way. And then they started, telling that to their friends who are in the practice, and it creates this big upset and kind of, a challenge for you, right? And I think those things usually happen because somebody is going through concentration, but we kind of forgot about it, or they're dealing with some level of actually moving through the cycle. So when a new patient comes in to you, they are in planning, right? They called you, they thought about going to your chiropractor, they call you up, they get you scheduled, they're coming in for their first visit, all planning. They're in for their first visit, they're going through the report of findings, they're signing up, they're starting their first week of care, all concentration, right? They're kind of freaked out. They're a little nervous. They're not sure if they can trust you. They don't know a lot about chiropractic, maybe. They're trying something brand new for their health. They don't know if it's going to work. They might feel vulnerable because they're really in a lot of pain, right? It takes a lot of courage to have that conversation with your team. Think about what the patient would think about as they go through those cycles. And then they move into concentration, right, or into momentum, where they're like, wow, they're really starting to see the changes the chiropractic can have on their life and their health. And they're starting to, really kind of feeling excited about it. They start referring a couple of people, and then they get into stability. They're coming in once a month. They're doing their regular checkup. They kind of got the big idea, and they just, they're on the schedule, they're on wellness care, maintenance care, and then into mastery, where really they become lifetime patients, right? And they are telling everybody else about it. Because mastery is all about passing the message on, and they referring like crazy to you. So how can you set up your new patient experience, and actually your patient experience going from what I would say a brand new patient calling into your office all the way to a lifetime patient? What is the cycles that they move through? What are the predictable breakdowns? And what are the thought patterns? And how can you manage your communication to your patients so that you don't end up with what my client ended up with, a coaching client who has this real upset about not feeling met, right? Really important. So thinking about these things and how they affect the different areas of your business. Pretty cool? Excellent. And so now you fill all of that out on your piece of paper, your boxes. You have your breakdowns on one side. You have your little notes. You have your business systems and kind of where they fit in and where they're at. If you have any problems at all figuring out where your business is at overall in the cycles, look at your left column where all you have written all the business systems, and see where you have the most clusters of the systems in what area, in what cycle do they end up. So you can kind of set, like for example, you might have, a couple of things in concentration, but maybe a lot of things in stability. So you can say, okay, like I really think I'm in stability, but I need to move these things in concentration now through and into stability, right? But look at that and go, okay, so what is the one thing that you feel would really, really make a difference to move your business forward? And usually it's the things that are kind of lagging behind that needs to be moved up, and really look at, have you gotten beaten up by the feast and famine cycle? And did you scale your business back purposefully and kind of said, what, growing all that much and pushing all the time feels really exhausting to me, so I'm going to settle at this level of comfort for me. But somewhere in back of your mind, you're really feeling kind of, is this all there is? And, you're not feeling as fulfilled or inspired or as passionate, and that you kind of gave up on yourself and your big chiropractic dream that you first have, your big why that you wrote on the top of the page, be vulnerable with yourself and find that space that you can kind of admit that to yourself, so that you can, if you want to, maybe begin hoping again and moving through and working your way out from the middle of your business to become a true leader of your business. So, if you find yourself that you would want to scale back, then that probably would be your one thing, to move from being in the middle of your business to being a leader of your business. If you're in momentum and everything is growing really rapidly and, it feels a little bit overwhelming and you're trying to figure out, what to do next. It seems like there's so many things that needs to be taken care of all at once, which often it is when you're in momentum. I would probably move backwards and look at concentration is all about marketing, right? Getting your sales and marketing dialed in. So I would look at those systems first. So look at the phase that was just ahead of the one that you just passed through, that you're in right now. So if you're momentum, look at concentration and look at what are the systems that need to be in place in concentration to do that successfully. And that would be sales and marketing. So then in momentum, you would be like, okay, how can I get dialed in my sales and marketing so it's 110% mastery, right? That might be the one thing that you need to do. Focus on that. And also, making sure you have the right support, right? If you're instability, momentum a lot of times too, you need a lot of support. So make sure you have the right support to carry you forward. And to end, I just wanted to give you my email address, and also feel free to follow me on Facebook. You get to hear about our crazy travels through the US and the amazing music we go and see, and of course, a lot of little business gems along the way. And if you have any questions, or you feel stuck and you're not really sure what cycle your business is in, or you want help really sustaining momentum and really moving in stability, those are the questions I really handle for you. And I want to offer you a free consult to really kind of create that plan for you, that one thing each quarter to kind of propel you forward. So hit me up on that. Just send me an email. And thank you so much. It's been a pleasure to be with you. And I'm pretty sure that our Kathy is going to join us again.
Yes, I am. I'm here. What a wonderful job. So much information. I know that the questions are coming in. And one of the questions that came in is, you were very clear on breaking down, the different groups. And you said that if you're in one particular category right now, for example, if you're in momentum, to look back at concentration. Can you just one more time clarify for this person who is asking about the momentum, how you qualify that you're in the momentum phase?
Yeah, so in momentum, it's really a growth phase. So usually you have kind of an explosion of growth happening and an influx of new business. And usually the feelings that you usually have, can I maintain my commitments? Can I keep going? You usually feel kind of overwhelmed. There's so much going on all at once, and you feel kind of spread a little thin. But usually it's like a positive flow of influx of growth.
Very good. And the other question was, one more time, if you would define the planning so that we can understand, because we've got a lot of students that are listening
awesome.
in right now.
Excellent. Yeah. So the planning phase, I think, is great for students. I mean, one thing that you can do as a student right now, it totally is working on your planning. It's so important. One thing is to really find a way to show how you are different, how you are unique as a chiropractor, how you're different from the chiropractor down the road, right? That's really important, to really hone in on your unique selling proposition and the specific people that you're going to be serving. Those are great thing in planning. Planning is really, you haven't actually started your business yet, but you are dreaming it up. You're thinking about it. You're putting the systems in place that kind of help you launch it. And all of those things, I recommend as a student in planning that you do some sales training. And, you learn how to do a business plan, write a business plan for your practice. The Small Business Association offers free classes on how to write a business plan, great resources. They also have, a lot of times they have entrepreneurs that's been in business for 50 years or so, 40 years, and they actually volunteers to help people through and writing, different questions that you might have in that phase. And I really recommend them as a resource. So, yeah.
Very good. Now, when it comes to finding a mentor, do you want to go one category above you, two categories above you? Do you want to go all the way to the top? I know you said the mastery. Those are the people who have really mastered it. They're coaching others. They're supporting others. Is that the only person that you should reach out to, or are there different people on different levels that you suggest reaching out to?
Well, I think the most important thing, so here's the truth is that I have wasted tons of money and resources and time investing in the wrong thing at the wrong time. And I've had so many of my coaching clients coming to me and saying, you know what, like I just spent X dollar a month on this coach and you didn't help me at all. And I think most of the time that happens because we pick in the wrong thing at the wrong time. So if you really know what cycle you're in your business, so for example, if you concentrate in planning, right, you really want to focus on branding, and you want to focus on building your business plan, you want to focus on sales, right? That's the things that you should be investing professional mentorship in. Focus on those things when you're in planning. When you're in concentration, become a master marketer, really learn about marketing. And I would also, again, throw in sales, because we can never be good enough at sales. So that when you get a bunch of people coming in, you know how to talk to them and communicate with them from a heartfelt way and connect with them. So I think it's really important to look at that phase. When you're in momentum, you really want to invest in people who know lots about systems and who really know how to scale a business and help you get from being the center of your business to being the leader of your business. And who knows how to help you find the right people, right? Stability is even more it's all about team. So how do you find the right support for your team to hiring the right people and training the right people? And that really helps you, what I would call working yourself out of a job. So that's what you're looking for if you're in stability. And, so I think that's actually more important. And then, of course, find people that you feel inspired by. The other thing I would look for in coaches too is there's two different ways of motivating people. And I think we have this too in chiropractic. Some of them will look for pain points. So some coaches market by, what is the most painful part of your experience, right? And I think, look for a coach that looking to inspire you with your vision. And it's a very different way of approaching marketing and how to communicate with you. And so find people who are inspiring you.
Wonderful. Such great information. Thank you so much for sharing. I tremendously appreciate you.
Thank you so much.
Yes, I know that all of our listeners, both those of you who are live and those of you who are watching the recording, I know that you appreciate this information because it really was what a lot of us need to just take our businesses to the next level, whatever
Awesome.
level you're. Yes. So a very warm thank you to our featured presenter, Madeleine. Thank you so much. We appreciate having all this information. It was very good. Very good.
Thank you so much, Kathy. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome. At the LCW, we are committed to delivering high value to our members. We host free bi-monthly webinars the second and fourth Wednesday of each month. We also host a CA Connect call on the first and third Wednesday of each month. Plus, I want to let you know that we have two very exciting live events coming up in the fall. Now, we have chapter events at different chapters around the world, around the country, around the world. They're everywhere. But we have our annual retreat in sunny Arizona the first weekend in November. Details are already on our website, so check that out at lcwomen.com. When you come to this retreat, you get the opportunity to listen to inspiring speakers, relax in the spa, and gain implementable tips to help you grow your practice and increase your impact on your community. So on behalf of the LCW, I'd like to thank all of our premier sponsors, and that includes Standard Process, Life University, ICPA, The Branding Guru, AMPT, Foundation for Vertebral Subluxation, ChiroFutures, and Vitalogic. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. We'll see you next month for our second Wednesday of the month great webinar. And don't forget, we've got webinars that are held on the 1st and 3rd for CA Connect, on the 2nd and 4th. And they're always available for replay on our website at lcwomen.com. On behalf of the League of Chiropractic Women, go out there, connect, empower, and thrive. Good night, everybody.